Alright, so today we're going to be going over if else statements. So first what you want to do is open up another playground, blank playground, and save it. So we'll just save it as episode 2, and episode 2, and we'll create this. Today we'll be learning two conditionals. We'll be learning if-else statements and switch statements. Alright, so the first thing I want to learn is a if-else statement. So normally if you're going to do an if-else statement, it's pretty easy. It's if, and then next to hit if, just let the computer know that you're doing something like an if-else statement. And right after the if, you put down the condition you want. So let's say, actually no, let's really set up a variable up here first. So we'll do and we have to automatically run and debug, view debug area, activate console. There we go. So let's quickly make some variables here. So first let's do var. Now if you don't know what this is, I recommend you look at the previous episode. So var variable weather is equal to sunny. Okay, so let's go back here. Now no, instead of weather, let's do temperature actually. So temperature is equal to 70 degrees. Okay, 70, just to 70. Now for back to our if else statement. So first if, now space, and the condition you wanted to run. So what you wanted, what's our condition for this? So what's our condition? If temperature is greater than or equal to 60, let's say. Okay, so that's our condition. Okay, so this is the condition we need for the code in here to run. So let's put down the code we want to run. So let's do set up another variable here. Actually, variable message. Now what we did here was we declared a variable named message. Right, so this is just going to be a message that we're going to print out to console down here. Now yeah, so I think variable message string, so we declare that this will be a string. However, we have not assigned it a value. We will assign it a value in here. So we'll do message is equal to it is warm. It is warm. Okay, and it is warm. And over here we have to put an else. Now this is what it does. So if this condition, which is if the temperature is above 60 degrees, then we will make sure that the message here, we will assign it a value that says it is warm. Okay, so then down here, if this condition isn't met, then everything else will run this code here. So we'll write message it is chilly. Now what we did here was now it checks for temperature is higher than 60 degrees or equal to, and if it is, then the message over here it'll assign a value that says it is warm. And if the condition isn't met, then for everything else it'll assign the message a value that says it is chilly. Okay, now let's print this out to console. So print message, and now let's let that run. It is warm. Okay, now we can tap. Now does that work? Yep, that works. This is doing what it's supposed to do. That's nice. Now the thing is, what we did here was it's greater than or equal to 60 degrees, right? But that doesn't mean everything is warm, right? Maybe if it's over like 100 degrees and it's really hot, right? So that's why we want to add another condition to it. So there are some operators here. So we can do and temperature is less than or equal to 100 or 90 degrees. Okay, so now that's good. Let's let that run, and there, it is warm. Now what we did here was this operator here. It says this is basically an and. Okay, this is an and symbol. This is an and. So basically, what this does is what this symbol does is that it says that this condition has to be met and this condition has to be met for this code to run over here. And if that does not, if just one of the two conditions are not met, or if two out of the two conditions are not met, we will just run this code instead. So now that's a bit better. So for example, if we put 1,000 degrees and we run this, you will notice that it says it returns it is chilly, which is not really what we want, because 1,000 degrees is not cold, right? So there's another thing you can add here for if-else statements. It's called an else-if. So we can put nest. This is called nesting. We can nest another if-else statement here. So we could do else. Okay, so now we have a error here. It says missing condition in if statement. This is because, so what this did was, so since these are not met, right, it'll run this else. Now instead of this else, it's actually going to run this another conditional inside it. Okay, so we have to provide the if a conditional. So what will we do? So if we want it to be chilly, then we'll just do if temperature, can't spell today, okay, is less than or equal to 60 degrees, then it'll send a message that says it is chilly. Now what do we do about the else? Well, we have to we have an error here. Let's see, variable message used before being initial. Okay, well, that's because we have to add something here first. So basically what this error message is saying is the message is being used before it is initialized. So what that means is this thing does not even have a value yet, right? And it's not even, and this thing here does not have a value yet, right? And based on our temperature, none of the conditionals are met, right? Which means that the message is never changed, so it is still has no value. So when we try to print something with no value, it returns an error. Alright, so that's why we're gonna have to do this else. So for else, we can do, so we already got the chilly temperature down, and we already got the warm temperature down. All we have left is the hot temperature, so it could be else. We should probably get rid of this equals, actually, now that I think about it. Alright, so now for else statement, we could just do message equals, it is very hot outside. Now let's let that run. It is very hot outside, see? Now, so yeah, this works perfectly now. So we could do like -100. Now I'm not sure if this will actually work. Oh, it actually worked. Okay, that's nice. So -100. Now there are limitations to how big this number is. Depends on what kind of, whether you're planning to run this on like a 64-bit system or 32-bit system. There is a limit to the numbers you can use, so just research that yourself. Yeah. Alright, so this works perfect anyway, so we can put any temperature. We can put like -110 degrees, we'll just let that run. It is chilly, yep, that works, right? So this is our if-else statement. That's nice. Okay, but notice this nesting, right? What if this nesting can actually, this is very useful, if-else statement, pretty useful. However, it can get really sloppy pretty fast. So, for example, imagine if we nested like another if-else statement inside of this, and another one inside of that, and another one. It gets really hard to read, and it just gets really sloppy. So, that's why there's another thing called switch switches. Now those are much more concise. Yeah, so we'll just test that out. So let's go over here and do switch. So this is the thing, the command that tells the computer that we're making a switch statement. Okay, so switch, and now over here is the variable that we're gonna put. Okay, so it's gonna analyze that variable, and then it's gonna run commands based on it. So we're gonna put temperature. So switch temperature, and put the brackets here. Those are necessary. So inside the brackets we put the code that we put the cases. So case case 10. Okay, we could put down like message it is 10 degrees outside. Alright, and then we can put another case over. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing here. There we go, and we're gonna put an equals here. I just had a brain fart there. Whoops. Anyways, so next up we can just do case 11, etc. And now obviously this is gonna be now temperature is really a nice thing to do with this. Oh yeah, you can also do ranges. So, but we'll talk about it later. For now, we'll just add a bit more, so it could be like message equals it is 11 degrees outside. Alright, so now we get an error here. It says the switch must be exhausted. What this means is that the switch, so any value here, this switch statement, alright, so the switch statement must take any value in the temperature and run some sort of code for it. Okay, now obviously, which means like, hey, now you might be thinking, hey, we already have a temperature of 10 degrees here, right? And it already runs this code, so why is it showing this error? Well, if we put like 1,000 degrees, we have nothing to run for. Okay, so that's why there's another thing called a default. These are pretty useful. So we can put default. Now what this does is it's like equivalent to else in an if else statement. Default equals it is okay, so that's the default. Now what the default does is if any of these, all of these don't work, then by default this will run. Okay, now if we try to print out the message to the console, we let that just do its thing. It's 1,000 degrees outside. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Now you may notice that this is kind of tedious. We don't want to do let's actually no. Let's do our previous if else statement. Okay, something akin to it. So like, you know how if it was cold, it would say it was chilly, something like that. So how about instead we do? There's another thing called a range. Okay, it's very cool. So you can do what was that range again? I believe it was 60 degrees, and you could do dot case 60 dot, and then you could do 90. Alright, and message equals it is warm. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so that's the range. So basically what it does is it grabs all the integers between 60 and 90. So for example, if we actually made this like 70, it would say it is warm. So these three dots actually just represent all the numbers in between 60 and 90, which is pretty. Alright, there's another thing we can do. It's called I forgot what it's called. I think it's value, something value. We can insert our own values inside here too. So case let let's say hot temperature, where, so I'll explain this all in a bit, but where hot temperature is greater than 90, now let's let that run. it is warm. Now, if we change this to above 90, so we'll say 100, let's run. It is hot outside, that's nice. So what we did here was, this is another special thing. So what we did here was we declared a temporary constant here. It's called a hot temperature. Alright, so what this did is it's just temporary constant, and it is based off of the original temperature here, okay? And now here where it says where, it says, so we already know that this is 100 degrees, right? So then case let hot temperature where hot temperature is greater than 90, and it is greater than 90, right? So then it runs the code here. So that's pretty cool. It's interesting. It's an interesting part of Swift, and we can do the same thing for here for the cold temperature. So we could do case let cold temperature where, and then inside the parentheses you write down the conditional. So it'll be cold temperature is less than 60 degrees, and we have to set colon here and then write down our code. So it'll be message equals it is cold outside. Okay, now if we go up here back to temperature and we change it to like negative 100,000, whatever, 1,000, we'll let that run. It is cold outside. Nice. Nice. I believe there's another part of Swift. It's called a fall through. It's fall through. So we could be like, now what this does is, I'm trying to think of a way to apply this to our code here. Oh yes, yes. So what a fall through does is fall through, and now if we set okay, so what a fall through does is so let's say this condition case is met, right? And then it goes through a fall through, and what a fall through does is it just forces this code to run. It doesn't matter if this conditional has to be met or anything, it just forcibly runs the code in the next case, okay? So that's what a fall through does. It's useful sometimes. It's pretty cool. What else is there? I believe that is it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for if-else statements and switch statements. Yeah, so notice how this switch statement looks much more cleaner than the if-else statement. Imagine if we nested a bunch of if-else statements inside each other. That would be really sloppy. That would be horrible. Very hard to read. And look at how much more easier this is to read. Look at this. Wow, it's pretty amazing. And I'll see you in the next episode. Next episode we'll probably be discussing loops. Yep. Bye.